Welcome to the Tomoberry assembly tutorial. Once you have all the parts removed from the supports and cleaned up, you can make a start with the eye-chip. First you're going to want to glue a 6x3mm magnet inside the hole in the eye-chip. Once the glue is dried, I personally like to shine up the eyes using some UV clear nail gel, gloss variety. I also glue a magnet to a pill bottle and then use that as a makeshift stand to make the application easier. I usually do 2 thin layers per eye using a UV torch to cure in between layers and then curing at the end. I usually cure for about 20 seconds per eye just to be safe. Again, this is a purely optional step, but I feel like it adds a lot of life to the little freak. Now we follow up the eye chip by gluing all the magnets in the head. We can start by gluing a magnet into the socket where the eye chip will be going. Please do make sure when you glue the magnet in, it is facing the right direction to connect with the eye chip. Now we can glue those magnets into the 3 holes at the bottom of the head too. You repeat this for the lower jaw part or head cap. There are again 3 corresponding holes to match up with those in the actual head, so when you glue the magnets in here, make sure they match up with the ones, or the direction rather, that you just glued the magnets into the head. Otherwise, of course, they will just repel, and we don't want that. Now we need to pin the hands and feet. The pinhole in both the hands and feet will fit a regular 1.75mm rod of filament, aka what you will have used to print this if you were printing with an FDM machine. Otherwise, a similarly sized bit of metal craft wire will suffice if you printed in resin. But anyway, the way I attach the rod is I just dab a little super glue onto the end and then insert it into the hole and just snip off the excess and let it dry. You could also use a soldering iron, but I assume most people don't have those handy, so super glue works just fine. Okay, now this is an optional step, but I highly recommend it if you are not printing in solely matte filament. Anything glossy, or especially highly glossy, that kind of material has literally no grip whatsoever. So once assembled, the figure will be very, very flimsy, unless you do a very simple technique called hot glue suading. This is me doing it here. I literally just squirt a little hot glue out of my hot glue gun and wipe it around in the socket, and that adds a ton of friction that makes the figure very, very sturdy and capable of holding poses. So all you need to do is, for every part that has a socket, just suede it up. Again, this is only a problem for non-matte filament. You can also get away with it on slightly, very slightly glossy filament. But anything that's really high gloss, like the silky parts I'm using for the fleshy bits on this print, that's going to be a problem. Now it's time to bring this monster to life. To string him, we are using 3mm elastic cord, and we start with the arms. So what you want to do is you want to feed the cord up into the chest part and out of the right arm socket. It really doesn't matter which arm you start with, but that's what we're starting with here. And then you bead all the right arm parts onto the string, as you would with, say, a bracelet or something like that. When we get to the hand, we tuck the cord underneath the pin in the hand, and then we pass the cord back up through the channel in all the right arm parts. Then we feed the cord back into the chest and out of the other armhole, and repeat the process for the left arm. Now we can feed the cord back into the chest and pull both lengths out through the bottom and tie a simple knot. I usually tie 3 knots to secure this in place, but considering the thickness of the cord, 2 will suffice, and that keeps it all locked in. Then you just cut off the excess. Now we need to string the legs, so we take some cord and feed it through the neck on the chest, and then pass that through into the abdomen and feed it out of one of the leg holes. You can start with whichever. Then you bead the leg parts on just as you did with the arm. Loop it back around, and then feed it back through the abdomen and out through the other leg hole. Bead the other leg on, and pass it back. Now we need to pass the cord back out of the abdomen, through the chest and through the neck. On the way I took the loose bits of string from the arm loop up into the chest just so they're not in the way. Then I tug on that string to pull it all together. To thread the head on, first we need to trim off some of the excess cord. Just leave about as much as I left here, and then pass both lengths through the hole in the lower jaw. Now pull the cord as tight as you can and tie a knot to lock it in place. And now all that's left to do is trim off that last bit of excess cord, insert the eye chip into the main head part, and then lock it onto the lower jaw, and you're done. If you came here to assemble your Tomoberry after bagging him from either Cults 3D or my own website, thank you so much. I plan on making a bunch more freaks just like him, and if you want to be number one to hear about them and grab it for a discounted price, check out my Patreon, linked below. Thanks again, and enjoy your freak.